Hey guys, so I'm here with my February reading wrap up. Can't believe we're in March now. I know I say that at the beginning of every wrap up video, but it seems to be that months are just going by so fast. It's unbelievable. I didn't read as much this month as I did last month. I had some stuff on that really cut into my reading time. I still managed to read 6 books, which is quite good for me. I read 3 physical books and 3 books on my Kindle, so I'll do the physical books first. The first physical book that I read in February was Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and this book was absolutely incredible. I blazed through this. I felt absolutely in love with it. It's probably my favourite read of the year so far. Absolutely adored this. It's a YA fantasy read, and it's the first in the series, and so much in this book was set up, but so much also happened. It wasn't just a set up book. There was a lot of setting up for the rest of the series, but that's not all it was about. So much took place. I loved all the characters, I loved all the settings, all very different. Normally with fantasy reads I have trouble sort of discerning a voice if there's lots of perspectives. But each one was very individual. I had no trouble telling who was narrating at all. It was absolutely incredible. The tagline at the top is perfect for fans of Game of Thrones. Now, as Game of Thrones is an adult series and this is YA, I wasn't entirely sure they should have really put that on there. I mean, I know a lot of fans of YA do read adult books, but I'm saying that's quite a crossover. But it is actually perfect for fans of Game of Thrones. It's very much like it. It's absolutely incredible. I gave it 5 out of 5. I have actually put a blog review up of this one, so if you want to know more of my thoughts on it, go check it out. This one I definitely recommend reading if you haven't. It's absolutely incredible. Loved it. I was so sad when it ended. I was so invested in it, and I'm dying for the next one already. Next book that I read was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. Finally picked this up. It's taken me a really long time, a whole year, to actually read this. I have no idea what took me so long because I absolutely loved this as well. It's been a good reading month actually. It's been a really successful reading month. I've loved most of the books that I've read. Again, this one I gave 5 out of 5. I loved the Cinderella retelling. I loved that it was in the future. I loved that we have a truly unique YA heroine in that Cinderella is, part cyborg. I loved her character. I loved Prince Kai's character. The only thing I have said in a review, but I haven't posted a blog review of this yet, it will be going up shortly, is that I wished we had more of Prince Kai's perspective. That's all. And I wanted more of his thoughts towards Cinder. In his perspective, she's never really mentioned. That's the only thing that I really missed, but I still gave it a 5 out of 5. I loved that there is a sort of romance element, but it's obviously going to develop more in the other books because it's not the main focus of this, and it truly stands out amongst YA fairy tale retellings. Must read. Loved it. As you guys probably have already read it, so yeah, really surprised I didn't pick this one up before because I absolutely loved it. And the third and final physical book that I read in February was Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, the sequel to Cinder, or well, book 2 in the Lunar Chronicles. And this one concentrates on Scarlet, who is basically our retelling of Red Riding Hood. And I loved that we still got to see Cinder. It's more fairy tales are merging together rather than them being separate retellings, which I'm really enjoying. Red Riding Hood, or well, she's called Scarlet, is a really strong character. She's very determined to find her missing grandmother. I loved how the element of the wolf was brought in. I thought it was very clever. So again, this one got 5 out of 5. After I finished Cinder, I needed to dive straight into the sequel. Really glad I did. It's going to kill me to have to wait for book 3, but this was really incredible, and if you haven't read them yet, you really should, because I don't know what took me so long to pick up Cinder, and obviously I loved it so much I dived straight into Scarlet. It was that good. Now onto the Kindle books that I read. The first Kindle book I read was totally on a whim. It's a freebie that I've had on my Kindle for like almost as long as I've had my Kindle, and that's Mail Order Millionaire by Carol Grace. And this was an okay sort of adult chick lit read. I thought the potential was there, but it just got really repetitive and boring. It's about a woman that works in sort of like a mail order place. People, order from a catalogue, and she works in the customer service. And this guy phones up, he hasn't got his order, so she takes it to him and she gets snowed in. Um, and she's struggling financially and he's a millionaire, whatever. The potential for it was there, but it just dragged on and was repetitive, and then the ending was just so anticlimactic, it was unbelievable. So give it 2.5 out of 5, half marks. It was alright, but it could have been so much better. Hasn't inspired me to read another one of her books anytime soon, but I didn't hate it. The next Kindle book that I read was The Unloved by Jennifer Snyder. This is a new adult novel. I'm kind of on a new adult novel kick at the moment. I'm really enjoying them. And this was one I stumbled across through Goodreads, and I just decided to give it a try. It was described as similar to Sophie and Carter by Chelsea Fine, which is a book I really, really enjoyed. So I thought I would give this one a go. I really, really enjoyed it. Nick and, oh, what's her name? Jules, that's it, Nick and Jules, used to be neighbours when they were younger, and they both had serious family life problems. Nick's dad used to beat on him and his mum, and Jules' mum is a stripper that's addicted to drugs. So they both have these issues, and they used to meet in this little shed. They became really close friends, but then Nick moved away, and now several years later, Nick's moved back. It was a really sweet romance. There is some scenes of a sexual nature, there's some rape in there, and obviously there's drugs and some bad language, but that's a theme in young adult novels. Um, it was really, really good. I liked that we had alternating perspectives, which is something I really, really enjoy. I just felt that the sort of romance was lacking. They were good friends, but I didn't feel the sort of chemistry for them to have their sort of, and they're happily ever after. While really sweet, I didn't 100% buy into it. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5, but I did still really, really enjoy it. There were just a few little niggly things that stopped me giving it 5 out of 5. And the final book that I read in February was also a new adult novel, and that was If You Stay by Courtney Cole. And it's about a guy called Pax who isn't addicted to drugs, but he uses them a lot to sort of escape. And Mila, I'm not sure how you say her name, I always say it wrong. She's a young artist, she has her own little store, and they meet when Pax basically overdoses and she saves his life, and then they sort of go from there. There is a lot of issues in this book, again, drugs, sex, alcohol, language, it's all in there. Really enjoyed this book as well, but this one had one of my major pet hates or pet peeves in a book. I won't say what it is in case it spoils it for you guys, but it's just something that I don't like to happen in my books. I don't know why it is. It's always been that way. But yeah, like I said, can't spoil it for you guys. But it just took away that extra mark, so it got 4 out of 5. Did really, really enjoy it. I thought the romance and the chemistry was much better in this than it was in The Unloved. But this one just had a pet hate in it, so again, it couldn't get the full 5. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving new adult covers as well. A lot of them are kind of similar. You'll probably see a theme when you look through like Goodreads or Amazon, but I'm loving them. They're like my perfect covers. Loving them. So that was everything that I read in February. Like I said, I didn't read quite as much as I read last month, so hopefully this video is a little shorter than it was last month. But yeah, I shall see you guys in my March wrap up, and I've also got some book hauls and some tags coming up. And also, I haven't forgotten my Q&A. That is still open. I do plan to hopefully get the answers up sometime in March, so you've still got time to ask me something if you want to, and I shall see you guys soon. Happy reading.